I'm going to show a series of attempts at getting a nice shiny program. So let me first look. I'll tell you what this is going to do. It's going to take counties, so it's a chloropleth map. It's going to allow you to select a state and select a column from these column of unemployment data. And let's see. I got to find one thing while I'm at it. And it's going to make a colored county map. I'll show you a couple of things. I'll show you the underlying file. There's one file right there, which is unemployment CSV, comma separated variable file. There it is. It's in this is showing it in Excel. It's got a state, which is abbreviation. It's got a county name, a bunch of variables including civilian, labor, employment, unemployment, all the way across to a last column, which is percentage or median household income, those two. This has been processed a bit. I got it. When I got it, I had commas and dollar signs in it. So it needed a little bit of work, but there it is. I'll tell you where this gets put. Let me show you. Okay. We have a folder called County Shiny on the desktop, and inside of it is going to be our app. That's going to have our UI and our server. And then I created a folder. You can do that. Let's see. Oh yeah, with new folder called Data. What Data has inside of it is a copy of the comma separated variable file. You need that because you need for Shiny to have the data nearby so it can be called. Alright, so let me do a fast show how this would work. Let me drop this in. Now this is kind of the simplest version of the program, and this is what I start with, because really Shiny is pretty frustrating to work with. This is just going to be layout right here. So UI is fluid page. It's going to be a title page, and then within that there's going to be a sidebar and a main panel. And inside the sidebar layout there's going to be a sidebar panel. So sidebar, let me say that again. We've got fluid page, that's the general, how we're going to approach it. The very first thing we see at the top is the title panel. Then we have sidebar layout, which gives layout of the rest of the web page, and that's in two parts, the sidebar panel and the main panel. Okay, not too exciting. Down here is a server, just input and output and nothing happens. So this should be the complete default which we'll see what it runs. Maybe nothing. Hold on. There it is. Yay! It says employment, and there's the layout waiting for something to be put in it. So let's look at the next step. So I'm going to go one page down here and show you what I changed. So in this next one, I have started reading things into the server. So into the server part. So I'm going to read county. That's a data set. Oh, I ended up changing that later in its position. You'll see. But I need to read in county data, which are in the library maps, which gives you just nice maps of different counties in the U.S. In fact, let me show one of those really fast. Hold on. Maps. Oh, that was the wrong library. There. And then maps, for instance, doesn't have Alaska, unfortunately. Oops, no, the data is county. Let's say that, and we'll put some colors in too. Color equals heat colors. Let's go 5, 6 heat colors. Why not? Oop. Sorry. So there we go. Oh, fill equals true. Let's try that. What this really calls is it's an county's an environment full of shape files. And there we go. So let's take a look up here. The main thing I'm going to do is this is one we want to see. I'm going to need employ, which is going to be reading in that CSV file. That this dot means look in the same directory that this R app is in, and you'll find a folder data, which has unemployment CSV. And I think later I'll make this as is into strings as factors, but no matter what, I don't want it converting anything into factors. All right, let's jump to this one. This is cleaned up a little bit more. This is where I put in then 2 selects. There's going to be a select input that selects the state. It's going to end up selecting state. And then we have one where it's going to end up selecting the variable. Now right now these are just defaults that are just going to sit there. And we'll plot output value. And down here, I'm not going to do much of anything. I'm going to read in the counties, shape files. I'm going to read in the CSV file. And then the output's just going to be a map of the input state with some random colors in it. So this is just another possible step. There we go. We've got a pair of select boxes. This one chooses state, and look at that. We get Alabama. Oh no, I changed it to Arizona. There's Arkansas. There's Arizona because this select box really doesn't do anything. But you can see this one now did. I put in Arizona here. Where is it? Select state. The input gets to be called state. By the way, I used a built-in data set in R. It's under datasets called state.name, which is just a list of all the states. Let's look at that. So, okay. And of course set them to lower class because it turns out that's the way the county wants to read them. Okay. Or, yeah. The county data set. So you can see down here it's reading in from the county data set, taking input state, doing fill, but the colors right now are random. So what I need to do is I need to do a couple things. I need to clean these up a little bit. Mainly, I need to read in a column, which is going to be, instead of reading in state names, I want to put in the columns of all my potential variables that they could use from that data set. And then down here I want to take that column of data and cut it into ranges and color each one of those ranges so it can go in the coloring right here. Let us try. Okay, I'll show you the next stage. We'll go a little further here. So it's even more elaborated. Okay, let's see. This one now is going to say select state. I still do the state names, but sadly enough, I have to remove Alaska and Hawaii because the county data set only has the contiguous U.S. states. Here's the other select input. That's going to have a value input column. Say select column. The choices are going to be the names from that file. Here's the CSV file you read in. Strings is faster is false. Columns 9 through 45. So that's going to give the names of columns 9 through 45 as your choices. And then the plot output's very dull. It just plots whatever is going to come out of the server. Now let's go to the server side. What changes? So the first thing inside the server, we read in the data set. Now we're going to set the output value. This contains some print statements, which I'm going to remove right now. Print statements are really nice because what they do is they'll show in your console some values that are good for debugging. Okay, there was a number of problems I had to deal with. So if I look at my CSV file, it actually doesn't have a name of a state like Arkansas in it. It actually has the state abbreviations like AL for Alabama. So I'm going to have to say when someone puts in an input state, I find that the state in alphabetical order, what order state has that name, and then I select from the state abbreviations, which is another data set that comes built with R. There they are, capital letters. So for instance, if I said Arizona, Arizona is the third variable, third element in state name. And so that matches the abbreviation AZ. So what that name gives, state abbreviation is going to be an AZ. And then I'm going to select. X is going to be the places where the state abbreviation matches. So I'm only selecting that one state, and I'm only selecting the column that the person requested from the menu above. Then I go the largest and smallest value of that data, and then I'm going to do find interval. And what that does is sequences a sequence of cuts. I'm cutting that interval from the smallest to the largest value into 9 equal spots. And find interval will take every one of my values from my data and find out which of these intervals it's in. In other words, instead of being a continuous variable, it's going to end up being variables going from 1 to 10, depending on which part of the range they fall in. Okay. I guess that's nine values. Let me think about that for a second. Like 9 sequence, but that's cuts. So that would only be 8 colors. Okay. So finally, here's the map. It's going to read the data set county. It's going to read what state the user selected. Fill is true. And then colors is going to be heat color. And that's going to go with the color of that county, which came from up here. I'm going to do only 8 heat colors. I'll leave it at 10. I just don't have to use all 10 heat colors. Okay, let's see what happens when you run this. Aha, here we go. Okay, I'm going to select a state, and then you get to select a variable. Not a lot of variability in that one. How about this? Actually, now that I think about it, hold on. It's the rates that are really going to be interesting, because really when we look at number of employed, that's just basically going to tell us how many people are in each county. So let's go rates instead. Much more interesting. So I will run through this one more time again. Again, I'm reading the library maps, which if you're going to do, has lots and lots of shape files in it. Here's the fluid page. There's a title panel right there. It's going to have sidebar layout. There's going to be a sidebar panel, stacked vertically though. Select inputs, and there's these two inputs right here. Let me actually show you what it would look like on the external one. Now that little narrow view we had there, here's what it will look like on an actual page. So okay, and that's it. Let's close.